back to this channel where we spread love and positive vibes. We always tell you, this is the home of positivity and love. And I want to start by thanking our subscribers. We value you. We appreciate you. We love you genuinely. The returning and the new subscribers. You are the reason we sit here every day and shoot these videos. I want also to actually appreciate you who take your time and actually educate us, correct us, comment there, and make us understand more about your country. We don't take it for granted. And all of you, we tell you that we pray for you. And very, very seriously we do. That may the Lord bless you, may the Lord enlarge you, may the Lord protect you and shield you together with your family. Guys, we don't take it for granted at all, at all, at all. And today, I want to shoot a video about a deep desire, a deep cry, a deep love that has been shown by our sisters and brothers in Jamaica. They have had that deep desire, that deep longing to see the Africans unite. They have loved us with passion. I was reading a story of this girl. She's a young girl actually. I think she is 25 there. And she was saying she has been brought up in America. But the parents ensured she learned that she came from Africa, her origin, and they made her to understand all the culture of the Jamaican people where her roots are. And I was like, wow, a parent taking the bother to educate the daughter about her origin, about her African motherhood. I was perplexed, and I realized this desire that the Jamaican people have for us and the love they have for us is epic. It's great love. It's love deep down their hearts. And I really, really want to appreciate that. And the desire also for us to be independent. We have learned a lot of contribution by the Jamaican people actually praying for us, or rather desiring us to unite. Bob Marley actually composed a whole song about Africa Unite. And we saw Marcus Garvey. He worked tirelessly hard to actually try to make Africa unite. And not only Africa to unite, we also unite with our brothers and sisters in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, especially in Jamaica. And this desire has been deep-rooted from the ancestors of Jamaica. And I want to start by saying, we have learned a lot about the roots of the Jamaican people. And we learned that the first people to arrive in Jamaica were actually from South America. And they were Indians, the Taino people. And when they arrived there, they started doing their shenanigans. And later, they were joined by Spain. And it's like they were oppressed until they could not be there anymore. And later, the Spanish people occupied Jamaica. And they needed people to work in their sugar plantations, their farms, and therefore they took Africans to work like slaves in Jamaica. The reason why I'm narrating that story is to make you understand why the Jamaicans' desire for us to unite is so deep, deep inside them. And therefore, when these people actually got Africans to work for them, these Africans suffered. They were not being given food. They were being given very little food. Actually, many of them died because of starvation and the hard labor they used to do. And therefore, the ancestors of Jamaica went through a lot of hardships under the rule of the Spanish people and later the British people. And it is said that most of them died. And therefore, the Maroon people who are those slaves started resisting the rule of these people. And they succeeded by working so hard to be liberated. They attained independence. And after they attained independence, they had felt the pain of slavery. They had felt the hardship of slavery. They had died at the hands of their masters. And therefore, they desired Africa to be free. And we saw clearly they contributed a lot to some of the African countries' independence. South Africa, Zimbabwe, Kenya, actually, they hired a lawyer. They came lawyers from Jamaica to come and represent Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. You can see the desire they had for Africa to be free. And therefore, the desire for us to unite is actually the desire for Africans to be independent, financially, economically, socially, in terms of food. And this desire is deep-rooted from the pain they went through, the hardships they went through, the rejection they went through. And they cannot imagine Africans taking themselves back to slavery. Africans taking themselves back to the hands of the slave masters. And therefore, the Jamaican people cry is for Africans to unite, for Africans to love one another, for Africans to embrace one another, for Africans to support one another, for Africans to stand for one another, for Africans to fight for one another, so that we can build a strong Africa, a liberated Africa, an independent Africa, an Africa whereby we can have our own airline coming directly from wherever we are, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, South Africa, every country in Africa, directly to the Caribbeans. And this way, we as the black people are going to unite, build each other economically, do business together, exchange ideas, exchange education materials, exchange our brains, our creativity, our artwork, music, and all the talents we have, and build a strong Caribbean Africa bond. And to do that, we have to start from home. Charity begins at home. And our love for Africa will liberate us. Our love for one another will free us. Our love for one another will build a strong Africa. And guys, I was looking at this president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. And this guy has great minds, great ideas, great liberation ideas. And I was looking at him, and I was looking at the way he's actually starting to build his country so that they can be food reliant, they can rely on their own produce. And it is said this guy is actually taking the Burkina Faso people to be educated about growing their own crops, providing for them fertilizers, providing for them knowledge, constructing infrastructure, building the airport, and encouraging education so that he can build a Burkina Faso that is strong, a Burkina Faso that is independent, a Burkina Faso that can rely on itself. And this has been the desire of Jamaican people. Look at Marcus Garvey. He desired to see an Africa country or Africa continent that is independent financially, economically, socially, mentally, everything. This has been the cry and the desire of the Jamaican people and the Caribbeans who went through the slavery, because they know the pain of having masters. And therefore, they desire to see a united Africa, They desire to see an independent Africa. They desire to see an Africa that loves one another. And that is why the Jamaican people will embrace an Africa visiting their land. Because they see in you their blood. Actually, I was reading, most of the Jamaican people have done DNA tests. And for above 50, it shows their African origin. And therefore, they consider us as their motherland. And they would want to see their motherland independent. They would want to see their motherland loving one another. They would want to see their motherland working hard to be independent. So when I looked at this president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, I could see a united Africa, a powerful Africa, a liberated Africa, and an Africa that can grow to greater heights of prosperity and accountability. And that is the Africa we desire. That is the Africa Marcus Garvey dreamt about. That is the Africa Bob Marley and all the singers that sing about the unity of Africa always dream of. Now, let us look at Africa. Africans, we are not poor, like all of us has been made to think. We are not poor. The other day, I was looking at the resources that are there in Africa. Look at our country, Kenya. It is a gem for tourist attraction. It has a lot of beauty. Culturally, naturally, a lot of beauty for tourist attraction. The farming, we can do a lot of farming in this country. We have also minerals. This is a country that can go to greater heights if the Africa can unite. So that we can mine our own mines instead of other people coming to mine for us. Instead of cultivating our land, getting the crops, and importing or exporting the best to other countries at very low prices. Why don't we unite and we cultivate our land, we produce our produce, and then we can buy from each other? What Uganda does not have, Kenyan sells to them. What Kenya does not have, it buys from Uganda or Tanzania or from any other country. We build each other in terms of trade. We build each other in terms of culture. We share the culture differences. When I go to Ghana, I see a lot of cultural differences from what we have in Kenya. And even within the intertribe in Kenya, the cultures are so different. We learn the cultures of each other. We support each other's talents. We support each other in terms of education. We support each other in terms of building a strong Africa. I usually see, sometimes back, there is this group of men in where I come from that decided to actually unite and try to develop as a group. And they united some years back, very many years back. Some of them actually have been ministers in the government of Kenya. And when they united as a group, they started buying land, investing together, building projects together. And by the time they were several years after that, all of them were rich. All of them had financial independence. What can happen if us as Africans, we can unite? What can happen if us as Africans can build each other in terms of trade, in terms of business, in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of the resources we have? We share. We exchange ideas. We exchange talents. We can be a very, very strong pillar that cannot be shaken. But as long as we are divided we fall. United we stand. We must be united and build the Africa we have all dreamt of. Just like the brothers and sisters in Jamaica have desired, we have to adhere to their cry. We have to listen to them because they have started it for us. Yesterday I was talking about the diaspora people of Jamaica. These diaspora people, deep from their country, they have been shown the power of unity. They have been shown the power of being together. They have been shown how far they can go as a group. And we found that there is a whole group, a global group of Jamaicans who are in the diaspora. And this group has really done a lot for their country. We also saw there is another group in UK of the people that live in UK that have come from Jamaica. And actually in the comment section, they came and told me how they have supported the grassroots organizations to make sure the Jamaican child does not go without education. The Jamaican child does not sleep hungry. The Jamaican elderly do not suffer. What a great blessing. What a great virtue. What a great deed to ensure that your country is going up. You can see the power of unity. And not even that. The reason why these groups have united, the reason why these groups have stood together is because the Caribbeans, all the countries in the Caribbean, started by uniting to form an organization. I don't know whether it is an organization called CARICOM. CARICOM aims at building the Caribbean countries to be economically independent, financially independent, socially independent, security-wise. The CARICOM, it is an organization that has joined the countries in the Caribbean. And I was reading that this organization has 4 pillars. One of the pillars is economic. Their aim is to make sure that every country in the Caribbean stands economically. The other one is foreign policy. They sit together, talk about the foreign policy and contribution in their respective countries. The other one is human and social development. Human and social development. Those are the 4 pillars that CARICOM stands for. And also security. You see, when this country comes together, join hands together, they can do a lot. We found that they have a cricket team of the Caribbeans. They have a university, the West Indies University, as a group. That way, they are sharing ideas in education. They are sharing ideas in the talent, in the cricket. They are sharing ideas. They can move from one country to the other freely without a visa. And therefore, they can exchange ideas. They can do business. They can trade. And you're going to tell us, those that come from Jamaica and the Caribbean countries, do you do business through this CARICOM? Do you trade through the CARICOM? Do you build each other through the CARICOM? You can comment for us in the comment down below. So you can see, they started uniting themselves and they started calling upon Africans to unite. If you talk to a young woman, a young man in Jamaica about Africa, they all know that their root is Africa. We saw it when Miss Trudy was talking to them on the streets. When African Tigress was talking to them on the streets. When Dimwango is going loud Jamaica. We have heard Jamaicans saying, we have our roots in Africa. Because they have been taught by their parents to embrace where they have come from, to embrace their roots, to stand united, to love the people where they have come from, to love one another, and to embrace their culture. Those are values that are very, very important in life. They do not allow themselves to be polluted by the other people's culture. They have stood with their culture and they have defeated everything else to stand as a country, to stand as a group, and to embrace their culture, to embrace their roots. And their desire for us to unite comes from deep, deep down them, so that they can see an Africa that is united, an Africa that is developing. That is their desire. And I really long for the day when it will be so easy for Jamaicans to come to their motherland Africa, and for us Africans to go to this great land of Jamaica, where they embrace us, where they love us, where they can do everything to defend us. Actually, I was reading an article and could see Jamaicans defend Africans as if they are their own sisters and brothers. They consider us as their family. They consider us as their close relatives. They consider us as people who belong to them. And therefore, if we can unite, and through God's grace, we unite with the Caribbeans, we can move the stones in our respective countries. We can develop to greater heights. We can be liberated in terms of food. Nobody would sleep hungry. And we have seen it. It's possible with the Jamaicans. We have seen groups feeding people in the estates. We have seen Cola Smith. We have seen Kino. We have seen Food for the Poor organization. They make sure no one sleeps hungry. Because let me tell you, unity is power. When you unite, there is nothing, completely nothing, that will be impossible. We will build an Africa where no child will sleep hungry, where no child will drop out of school, where no child will die out of sickness without medicine, where no mother will die when giving birth because there are no facilities. I miss and I long to see a liberated Africa, to see a united Africa, to see an Africa that is developing one another, building one another, loving one another, trying to uplift the lives of each other so that we can build a strong Africa. And I know my brothers and sisters in Jamaica would be so happy to see a united Africa, to see an Africa which is working independently to join, to have a straight airline going to the Caribbeans. And this can only be possible when we unite and join hands and agree to work together. That can be something so small to do when there is unity. And therefore, guys, this is the end of this video, and thank you so much for actually watching this channel. We appreciate a lot. Share our videos so that this channel can grow and we can spread positivity. Bye and God bless.